Twitter. Deus Ex in the works? Phil Spencer on Xbox's Gap. And PlayStation's Direct revamp. Extra, hear all about it.
Hey guys, welcome to the podcast where Vegito sounds like Sonic and Mario sounds like Linda Belcher. I'm the Dean of Games, the Dean Slater if you're on Twitter or Twitch, and joining me is twitch.tv/LMJ the Hitman Landon.
Let's go!
And joining us too is from Twitch's graveyard, Gavin.
What's up? What's up?
So soon I'll be changing that because, man, is Elon Musk speedrunning, destroying a company, a social media platform.
Will Twitter make it?
Oh, absolutely not.
3,800 employees wiped out in a weekend.
And he's getting sued for that, too. And he's already in the, I don't know if you saw this, he's already in the negative on this deal because, well, the reason that he initially said he was going to buy it and then backed out is the offer he made. He didn't have that money.
Yeah, he had to get a loan for it.
And so they sued him because they had already reached an agreement, so he had to buy it because he was violating contract by not buying it. So he had to take out a loan. Well, social media doesn't really make money. That's not what its job is. So he did a leveraged buyout, and now he's got to find other ways of making money, which is why he's like, "Hey, $8 for a check mark. Anybody? $8. I need the money. I need the money."
He does need the money.
But yeah, and then he's complaining about all this other shit, and it's like, bro, you're out there. I always thought of Musk, and it's crazy when he has fanboys. He seems to me like the like those cartoon rich people that are just super eccentric, like Doug Dimmadome from Fairly Odd Parents.
Doug Dimmadome.
He just seems like he's way out there like them.
What a pull. Yes. Okay, I can see that.
Like
Dimmadome. Dimsdale Dimmadome.
Like when he was when he's like, you know what? I have this successful car company. Why don't I just sell a flamethrower?
Yeah,
Anyone remember that?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Totally forgot about that.
Consumer grade flamethrower. That won't get me sued or anything.
Why not? Why not?
Oh man. So yeah, that's. I'm looking at. Problem is, I really liked using Twitter as a platform, and now I'm looking at the other social media platforms because you have to advertise for yourself as a streamer and so forth. And I was just like, ugh, I don't want to use two of the social media platforms that are big are both Facebook. Instagram and Facebook are both Meta. And it's like, I don't really want to use them either.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of Facebook, and I kind of stopped using Instagram altogether, and I have no idea how Twitter works at all.
Oh, yeah, Twitter's super easy.
Yeah, everyone tells me that. I must be extra dumb.
But, it's fine. Everyone has their preference, and mine is dying. Everything's okay. Because this is Extra, your weekly gaming news podcast covering the news leading up to, Sunday, November 6th, 2022. And if you like us, you can go to patreon.com/thebriefing-room. Let's get to some news. And you guys all know the drill. The drill is we start with this bad story so we can move on to good things. And we were already talking about Twitter too, so this is just icing on the cake. Nibel leaves Twitter. Nibel was a prolific source of gaming news for several years. Most of the time, he would just report the stories as other outlets were posting them. So he was basically on every website, oh, the story's posted, and he was good aggregate where you could just go to his profile and be like, oh, you could have all the gaming stories just in one place. He joined Twitter in 2012. That's crazy. 2012. He has almost 84,000 tweets, 400,000 followers, including some of the biggest names in the industry, such as Jeff Keighley. He's followed by most of the Kind of Funny crew, if not all of them. He's followed by Daniel Ahmad, who talks about a lot of the sales numbers for China and so forth in video games and stuff. Like, he's followed by a lot of people. Some of the notable...
For a while now, too, right? It's been a while.
It's been a while. Some notable stories he's broken fairly recently was Miyazaki's favorite Elden Ring boss. He's done continued small updates on Metroid Prime 4 because Nintendo's not doing it. And he's the one that saw that Sony Interactive Entertainment filed a trademark for Sunset Overdrive. Nibel recently launched a Patreon to help fund his Twitter posting because obviously you're not making money on Twitter. So he's trying to do all of that. And he got support from some notable people, including Jeff Keighley. But he said it was not enough to be sustainable, and he will find ways of refunding patrons. I miscalculated the value of my Twitter. It is not me who is popular, but it is the work that is useful. And it is not useful by itself, but a comfortable time saver. In his tweet, Nibel also mentioned his distrust of Twitter and his belief that Musk won't fix it.
Mm.
So,
yeah, he has no faith, and rightfully so. Interesting.
I really enjoyed looking at his tweets too, because even outside of the stories, he would always comment on other things too, and I always appreciated his thoughts on stuff. And something that really, really hit me, and he said in the post too, that he said, "I guess I have the staying power of lettuce." Which, oh man, how low he has to feel if that's how, he views himself. And like, it goes back to this whole thing of, you should support, small creators or whatever. Like, just support them however you can, even if it's like $1, because you never know. They could just need $1 to justify what they're doing, I don't really discuss this on the podcast, but I might as well name. I spend about 2 to 3 hours editing this podcast. I spend I usually spend about an hour and a half, 2 hours making the document. And then and then obviously recording the Patreons in this podcast itself. You're talking about another hour and a half ish. And it's just, you look at all those numbers together, that's almost 8 hours of me spending on this podcast. And, man, it's, and that's not even including how much money I spend I actually spend making this podcast, which I won't get into, but like there's some subscriptions that I had to sub to, just to, get this podcast posted. So, yeah, just any.
I'll be back.
Okay. Just anything that you can do to help support your creator is definitely helpful and appreciated. So I need to silence my phone now.
Wait, did your phone buzz? Because I
Yeah,
thought that was my phone.
No,
I don't know where it's at. I put it down somewhere. I was like, God damn it, it's around here somewhere. I hear it going off.
I mean, I can call it if you want me to.
Yeah, that would be nice. I know it's like somewhere stupid, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right, I'll call it real
Are
quick.
you calling?
I'm calling.
Yeah, see if you can hear it from here. That's gonna be embarrassing if so. Oh fuck, you can too. What? Oh, it's behind my monitor. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I got you.
I must have been. I don't know.
Man, that's gonna be super fun for the fans to listen to if I keep it in. It's me calling you and being like, all right, where is it? Can I hear it?
Where is it? Can I? I can hear it.
Oh man, that was a nice little positive thing after such a sad story. Nibel, wherever you are, I hope you end up feeling better, and I will definitely miss you. And if I could have supported you, I would have. Deus Ex in the works. This was reported by Jason Schreier. It is being developed by Eidos Montreal, who also apparently is helping Playground develop Fable. He mentioned that they have a co-dev deal with Xbox for several games, but Fable is the only one that was name dropped. They are also working on a new IP on top of that. I didn't think Eidos was this big, honestly, to be working on all this stuff.
Yeah.
But recently, Embracer purchased Eidos Montreal and Deus Ex in a package from Square for $300 million. I guess they are a little bit bigger because soon to be closed Square Enix Montreal, which was renamed several weeks ago Anoma, and Crystal Dynamics were also in that $300 million deal. And then the IPs that were also purchased was Tomb Raider and Thief, which I'm not familiar with Thief, but they were also purchased as part of that deal. I thought about including the Anoma thing on here, but we already had a sad story.
Going for a twofer.
Did you hear on Kind of Funny the joke that was made about that story when they were reporting it?
Which one?
Square Enix Montreal.
Yeah. What they say? I did listen for sure. Was it yesterday's? I'm assuming.
Yes. Was it yes? No, it wasn't yesterday's because yesterday was God of War.
Right, which I listened to today.
Yeah. It was Onoma, my studio, because it's Onoma, so it's Onoma Studio.
Oh no, my studio. Damn. Oh yeah. He's like, I
Yeah,
won't tell the joke. I won't tell the joke. Okay, I'm
yeah,
gonna tell the joke. Yeah, that was
yeah,
pretty good.
yeah. Um, it's sad, but at the same time, it's such a weird situation that you just have to laugh at it. But
Kind of
that,
ridiculous that it even is happening.
that was a whole other thing. Um, I Eidos Montreal is also rumored to be working on a game inspired by Stranger Things called Kids on Bikes, but Jason reported that that game has since been canceled.
Mm.
So, what what do you feel about Deus Ex?
I have never completed a Deus Ex. I played a little bit of some other Deus Exes, and I enjoyed those. For what little bit I have played, and I don't think it's gonna be their moneymaker. Um, but I don't know that I like Deus Ex, but I just again is it really popular enough to stay around in today's market?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that IP is big enough. I
Yeah,
mean, it's cool, unique games. I just don't know anybody who knows about them.
yeah. So my whole thing is Embracer, not known for making like Game of the Year style games, right? They are a company that loves to drown in sixes and sevens. Because yeah, sixes and sevens aren't usually considered like average or okay. But they're fine with that because if they can make a bunch of sixes and sevens and just release a bunch of them in the year, they're making money. They don't need it to be the best game ever. And that's kind of like where I'm like, Deus Ex, I guess in that instance makes sense. People recognize the name. They don't have to make it good. They just have to make it okay
Right.
and release it, and that's part of their strategy. Like their website says they're you know making quality games, but how much of that is corporate speak,
Yeah. We'll let the games do the talking.
I mean, you look at Gearbox. Gearbox has released 3 games, which normally Gearbox used to release like, you know, maybe a game or two every 3-ish years. They've released 3 games in the last 2 years. They released um the new Borderlands. They released new Tales of the Borderlands, and they
Saints
released
Row.
yeah.
Isn't that them?
I don't think that's Gearbox, but that is Embracer.
Bracer. Yeah. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. My bad.
And then they released the Dungeons and Dragons um one with Tiny Tina's Wonderlands.
That game was so fun.
Yeah.
Never got a chance to play it.
I want to get back into it because they've had DLC release and shit. I just haven't gotten back into it.
Yeah. So I mean, you look at what they've done with Gearbox, and I feel like that's going to be Eidos Montreal, especially when you look at, they're working on a new IP, they're working on Deus Ex, they're helping Xbox. Like, I think that's where Embracer's taking Deus Ex.
Yeah. Okay. I can see that.
How do you feel about Deus Ex, Gavin? What's your story on that franchise?
I know nothing about Deus Ex.
See, you see what I mean? Ain't nobody know about that game. That game's not gonna happen. That game's just not. I don't know who that's for.
Yeah, wasn't is it me or was Deus Ex one of the first like bullet time?
I know you could like technically slow down time.
Yeah,
With certain augmentations, I believe.
yeah,
I don't know if it was a key feature, but I do know that I think it was like a special skill you could get.
It could be just me misremembering because it's been so long since a Deus Ex has come out.
Yeah.
But I feel like it was like one of the first bullet time games. But whatever. Speaking of games, and actually of Xbox as well, Phil Spencer was on the Same Brain podcast, which I am going to take a listen to. I did not know existed, but I've been following. I used to follow iJustine on all of these socials and everything, and I've since fallen out. But she's on the same. She's one of the hosts of Same Brain podcast. But he was asked about games and so forth, and he had this to say. One thing we've definitely heard loud and clear is it's been too long since we shipped what people would say is a big first-party game. We can have our excuses with COVID and other things, but in the end, I know people invest in our platform and they want to have great games. And to reiterate that point, by the end of 2022, Obsidian's Pentiment will be the only all-new, internally developed game published by Xbox. Xbox also is publishing also Obsidian's Grounded, but Grounded has been in early access for a while now, for a couple of years. They published an Age of Empires re-release, and they also published As Dusk Falls, but that was developed by an indie studio and not an Xbox studio. Phil indicated that 2023 would be much stronger because the production delays from COVID are out of the way and those games are tracking well.
Good.
How do you feel about that?
I'm ready to see the dominoes start tipping over for the Xbox Game Pass. I think their big titles is not what they need to depend on anymore. I think they're reliant old big titles, and I'm ready to see their new IP start kicking off. And I think it's just around the corner. I think they've got so much that's been purposely held back for a long time just so they can really get the polish down. I think Xbox needs something very polished. Halo was not that. Gears of War 5, I think, was that, but I think people need something new from Xbox, so I think that's coming. I think that's all on the horizon, just around the corner. There's so much that's going to happen next year, not just for games in general, but for Xbox. Xbox has got a lot coming next year.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I heard some talk about, like, it's funny, when a game gets delayed, people are like, oh, why are all these games getting delayed? And then when Phil Spencer's like, oh, yeah, we had a lot of delays due to COVID, people are like, Xbox just can't make a game. And it's like, I mean, Horizon Forbidden West and God of War were supposed to come out last year. I didn't think God of War was going to come out, but...
I mean, they pretended like they knew it was going to come out, right?
Yeah. But, they were saying both those games were coming out in 2021. And God of War it releases in a few days, right?
Next week on Wednesday.
Yeah, and so, are you going to be able to make the podcast recording in that case?
It'll be pretty hard to get myself out of Kratos' asshole, so we'll see.
Yeah. It's coming out here soon, and then Horizon came out in March, so it's like, even Sony, if you just look at Sony, like, even they've had some COVID-related delays, and then you have just about everyone else delaying games left and right. What I would love, I think this could actually be a good thing in the long run, this all these COVID delays for Xbox. Because theoretically, it could allow them to do what Nintendo does. Where Nintendo just sits on projects. They'll have a project finished, and they'll just sit on it and be like, all right, oof, we had to delay this, so this month is looking a little short. What can we put out for this month, to make up for that? And, Xbox could do the same if theoretically, if, with all the studios they have and all the delays they've had,
Right.
they could be like, oh, well, we're going to have to delay such and such a game. Well, this game's been done for a little bit. Let's just go ahead and have it fill that time slot, And that would actually really help them a lot, too.
For sure.
Eventually those dominoes gotta fall, as Tim says. like
Those dominoes will fall.
they have so many dominoes just set up. It's just like, all right, come on, you.
I mean,
Push 'em over.
Hellblade, Fable, like there's a lot of titles they've got. I mean,
Yeah.
Starfield is next year. You have New Dawn or the Vampire Hunting Game. That looks good. This is all Xbox shit. And that's just the way off the top of my head. I know there's so much more too.
Did you
Yeah,
say
And
Redfall.
who knows what's behind the scenes that we don't even know about?
Yeah,
I'm sure there's some. There's tons.
There's
Bethesda owns so much.
there's
Next
a Vampire-
Wolfenstein is going to be exclusive, I'm sure.
There's a vampire hunting game. What's that?
Yeah, it's
it's
Redfall.
basically it's like Dishonored meets Borderlands meets Vampire Hunters.
yeah. It's from the team that made that Prey game a few years ago, if you remember that. Yeah, it's called Redfall. If you want to look up the trailer.
Redfall, that's right. Yeah, that game
Yeah.
looks great.
Look at that.
I don't know if
That's-
I'd drop a full 60, 70 on it, but
Mhm.
excuse me, Games Pass for a month to play and beat the shit out of.
Oh yeah, I
Thank you,
can't wait
thank
for this. Can't wait for this to come out, so I can't play it.
Is it next gen only? Probably is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at this point. Although I will say, Xbox is so much easier to get your hands on the next gen Xbox than it is the PS5.
I don't know. They're starting to come on shelves.
They're
we
starting to. They're
Have, we
starting
have 12, so
to. Ooh, we do.
yeah, there's
Ooh.
12.
It's just like
and we
Xbox is now coming out with all these games where I'm like, man, I really wish I could play this. And it's like only on Xbox. I'm like, motherfucker. Like Grounded. Oh my god, I was so mad when I found out that was only on Xbox and Microsoft.
Yeah.
Like, fucker. Because I've wanted a fucking new survival game to play for such a long time. Like none of the survival games coming out on PlayStation are really fucking good.
Just a second.
What do you want, bro?
Hey, the place I work has 12 PS5s, so we're going to buy one with the next paycheck. You're live on Extra, by the way. So yeah, you're live on the podcast. I'm just letting
Confirmed
you
it's
know.
happening.
I'm just letting you know. Next paycheck, we're buying a PS5. Thank you. I love you.
I can't even buy a PS5 in the next paycheck because I gotta buy boots.
Damn boots.
Actually, I actually need to buy pants. Like I've torn through all but one pair of pants. I've been wearing
I'm right
that
there
same.
with you.
I've been
I also
wearing the
need some
same.
pair of pants.
Wearing the same pair of pants all work week. So yeah, I actually need to buy pants instead, but priorities.
I mean, I probably should. I should probably buy more pants.
Yeah, I mean,
Because I've got like those one hands that I blew the crotch out of. I have two pairs of pants that are the exact same, and then I have my other pair of pants that has a big ass hole in the thigh.
yeah,
That's
no,
it.
all of my pants have the crotch blown out of them. That's the only thing I ever tear in my pants. Ladies, you know where my DMs are.
Ladies,
Anyway,
you know he's married.
did the phone call come through for you guys at all?
I heard somebody. I heard somebody.
No,
like,
well, a little bit.
Yeah.
What'd she say? No.
She said "fuck you" and then hung up.
Appropriate.
Yeah. Anyway, so Xbox is losing 2022 releases like Sony is losing PS Plus subs. So, Sony published their Q2 financials, which is the first full quarter since they launched the revamp of PS Plus. It is the third straight quarter with declining subs for PS Plus. In the previous quarter, they were at 47.3 million subs. And at the end of September, they were at 45.4 million, which is nearly a 2 million sub loss. Sony also lost 1 million monthly active users since the previous quarter. But despite those losses, Sony revenue increased 10% due to the more expensive tiers. All right, what do you guys think about all this?
Personally, like, I think if you're somebody who's just a casual gamer who doesn't like really play games all that often, like, obviously the new thing isn't all that great for you, but if you're somebody like my buddy Rabbit, who is just an avid gamer, plays games all the time, and just loves games in general, it's a great fucking deal. But because I mean, you pay extra money, but you get so many of these games for free, basically.
Yeah.
Because he was explaining it to me. He's like, yeah, this is blah 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 blah. If you have the Game Pass, and I was like, I don't have that. He goes like, what? He's like, how the fuck do you not have this? I was like, I was broke as fuck, and I don't play games all that often anyways. I play the same 3 games all the time.
Yeah.
But and I guess it still works out for Sony in their favor. I mean, yeah, they have less users and all that stuff, but they're making more money, so
True.
Yeah.
For now.
they're catering more towards like gamers than they are just casual people who play games.
Yeah. Can I just say, by the way, Gavin, you've mentioned a few of your friends on the show, and I know more about them through working with you, but can I just say, I love the nicknames for your friends.
Who all have I mentioned?
You've mentioned Rabbit, you've mentioned Mills. Who else?
No.
There's someone else.
Mills, to be fair, Mills, I call him Mills because that's his last name, and his first name is Gavin. So, like, I don't want to sound like a crazy person and sound like I'm talking in the third person.
So we're doxing people now, I see. Okay.
Oh well, he don't care. He doesn't give a shit. And then Rabbit, like, fuck it, I'm gonna dock his PSN name. I don't give a shit. His PSN is like Dunka Cat Rabbit, and everybody calls him Dunka, and I was like, that's fucking stupid. I was like, that just sounds so fucking dumb, and like, because I've always just called him Rabbit. He goes like, yeah, everybody else calls me Dunka. I'm like, that sounds really stupid. And even after I found out what his actual name, like, because like he used to call me, because like my PSN used to be Error.
Yeah.
And so he used to call me Error, and then he found out my real name, and he goes, and now he just calls me Gavin. And even though I found out his real name, I still call him Rabbit.
Yeah, I feel like there's another person, but I'm blanking on their nickname. But yeah, as far as
Soul, maybe.
yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's his last name as well. It's just Soul.
As far as the Q2 financials, we can make as big of a deal about the 2 million, loss, and for me, I think those, those go back to them having confusing tiers when they announced it. And still, to somewhat extent, their tiers are kind of confusing because games you think would be in one tier are in a different tier, and it's a whole thing. And then poor PR, because if you remember, they were like, "Oh yeah, if you just your PS Plus, will just carry over, and then people start buying a shit ton of PS Plus, because if it just carries over, then that it's cheaper than what the revamp was going to be, so they were buying as many months as they could, so that way they could have, save some money. And PlayStation's like, oh no, we're canceling that. We're not allowing anyone to buy PS Plus until the revamp. And now people owe money. Several people ended up having to make up the difference, even if they weren't the ones participating in that. So there was a lot of bad PR that was going in with it. And honestly, we're going to hear more and more about this and get a better grasp of it, because, again, this was the first full quarter since the revamp. One of the big selling points of PS Plus compared to Game Pass is annual options. So we'll see how the annual memberships carry out. So,
well, personally, I mean, I've got the second tier of the 3 for PlayStation, and it's really not worth it, or has been worth it. I got to play Stray.
yeah.
And that's really about it. Everything else I downloaded to play just because I wanted to get some kind of use out of it.
Yeah.
They've done nothing to show me any reason why I would need to renew that.
Yeah, that's the extra tier, right? And then the third one's
Yes.
premium. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just they had some choices with this launch that I don't think is really going in their favor. They'll always have those PS Plus Essential. They'll always have those, because those are tied into you being able to play multiplayer games. But
Right.
But as far as anything else, yeah, they're we'll see how these other tiers work. If you liked or didn't like this podcast, make sure to do all of the things, like hitting the like button and hitting the subscribe button and dinging that bell. Just take that take the little hammer thing and be like ding 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 at the XofPlay on YouTube. That's right, we finally got a handle on YouTube for that channel. YouTube's rolling out those in a weird way. All of my channels finally have handles, but my oldest channel got its handle last, and my newest channel got its handle first, which I feel like is a backwards way of doing it. Give the people that were around longer, a chance. But you can give it a high rating on whatever podcast service you use. Just go to Extra, be like, this is 5 stars. They talked about stuff. I am not a fish. And, give it 5 stars and be like, And be sure to tell people about the show, because word of mouth is the best way to help us grow. And I brought it up before, but on patreon.com/thebriefingroom. You can financially support the show and get cool rewards as well. That's all from us. Take care.